Hey guys, today I'm going to be walking you through 5 tips that are going to help you pick your first custom racket the best way. The first step and the most important step, which is going to affect the entirety of your table tennis career, is choosing your playing style. You have to decide whether you want to play as an attacker or a defender. In modern times, it's safe to say that most players are choosing the attacking style with a smooth rubber. But it's important to take your time to watch both attackers and defenders online and see which one you want to play like the most. There are 2 subtypes within this category, and the first one is the Chinese style. This style revolves around getting your power from the legs and core. This style also requires a very high level of fitness and is more difficult to learn than the next one, which is the European style. The European style has a similar basis because both the styles are still attacking styles, but in the European style, a lot of the power they generate comes from the arm. It's not to say that they don't use their legs and core, which they definitely do, and their fitness level is still very high. But what you'll find is that they'll be using different types of rubbers, which I'll be talking about later. So you can take your time and decide whether you want to play as a Chinese attacker, European attacker, or a defender. Once you've decided your style, the next thing we're going to figure out is what blade you're going to use. This is an extremely important decision and I highly request that you take my advice. Personally, when I got my first custom racket, I chose a blade which was way too fast and way too difficult to control. This sacrificed so much of my feeling and development. This got me in a bad habit of doing half strokes, and I didn't learn the technique properly because the blade was doing most of the work for me. When I switched to a blade with more control and feeling and a wooden composition, I got a lot more balls on the table. So if you've chosen an attacking style, I recommend a blade which is below offensive minus. And if you're wondering, that's the rating system they use for blades. I'll put the full rating system on the screen now. And if you can, I highly recommend using a blade with a wooden composition because you get a lot more feedback from your blade. What I mean by that is the feeling and the contact that you get. You'll be able to place and control the ball more. Some good examples are the Stiga Clipper, 𝗕𝗲 Stratus Wood, and Peter Corbell. The next step is deciding a rubber, and this largely depends on the style you've chosen. As someone who's tried both the attacking styles, I can recommend you good entry-level rubbers. So if you've chosen Chinese style attack, I recommend Hurricane 3 Neo Commercial. This is the rubber that a lot of players are using that use the Chinese style. It's ridiculously popular and it's good for the top level and the beginner level. If you've chosen the European attacking style, I recommend 𝗕𝗲𝗿𝗃𝗃 Intro or 𝗕𝗲𝗿𝗃𝗃 Europe DF. These are softer tensor rubbers which give you great control and not too much catapult effect. If you've chosen the defense style, you can try the Grass series from 𝗕𝗲, or you can try any of the long pimple options from the butterfly list, and yeah, it's really up to you. So for the Chinese style, I actually recommend the same type of rubber that the European style uses on their backhand. And that is an entry-level tensor rubber. We don't want to be using the Chinese style rubbers like DHS Hurricane 3 Neo Commercial because they're not ideal for backhand. They don't have enough power, or should I say catapult effect. These are the same rubbers that I recommended for the European style, which are the Vega Intro and the Vega Europe. So you want to be using a hard tacky Chinese style rubber on the forehand and a European style rubber on the backhand. And for the European style, I recommend using the same rubber on your backhand as your forehand. At this point in time, at entry level, it doesn't matter too much. And defenders, for your forehand rubber, I recommend any smooth rubbers. So you can use Vega Intro, Vega Europe, DHS Hurricane 3 Neo, anything you like, just not anti-spin or anti-speed. Another thing you have to consider is the price. You don't want to be spending too much on your first racket, nothing more than $120 maximum. It's not worth spending too much more than that because you're going to change soon as you improve faster. And the last tip I have is to not overthink. The easiest thing you can do for yourself is to pick the blades and the rubbers that I recommend because it's personally what worked for me and a lot of other people when starting out in table tennis. If you do want to customize and personalize your racket even more, then I recommend staying within the guidelines that I've set, not going over a blade that's over offensive minus and not choosing like the wrong type of rubber and yeah. Okay, so if this video helped you, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe, and cheers to your first custom racket.